Well, hello everybody. It's Patricia, and number two in my magic mushroom plant medicine psilocybin journey. The day after my journey, my session, which was a whole day. It started around 9:30 and it finished about, yeah, probably about 6:30. Um, so a long day. I'm taking it very easy today. I'm not doing very much apart from recording this and doing a little bit of an admin, because it was a profound experience. It wasn't as tumultuous as I expected. I was terribly afraid that it would be absolutely draining and hard, and it wasn't at all for me. That's not to say it wouldn't be for some people. And in fact, my guide did say that for some people, she has to really hold them while they sob and shake and whatever they're processing. But it wasn't like that for me at all. So I wanted to describe in detail what happened and my experience. So um, after arriving, it's very important to be orientated, and my guide told me exactly what to expect during the day. I got to fill in a little form with my intentions and my expected outcome, if you like, what I wanted from the experience. I was taken into the room to witness the setting, basically, and had a sofa and a couple of chairs and a mattress laid on the floor with cushions and pillows and so on, and a nice cozy blanket and an altar, which was a table that had been set up with some images that were particularly inspiring to her. And she took me through everything in the room and what it was and why it was important, and including the pictures and some of the images that she had up, which were very inspiring. And then we did a sort of welcoming session where, I should say we did a tapping session first, to kind of ground me and help me to let go of any anxiety that I might have about the session. And she tapped on me, which is interesting. I do that sometimes with clients who are very, very dissociated, and so basically they tap on you while you repeat certain phrases, and that kind of pulls you into your body. It's very, very grounding, centering. It helps you to resolve any unconscious emotions you may be holding in that space. And because I use tapping in my practice as well. So, but it was interesting to do it with someone else and have someone else do it for me, because everybody approaches it slightly differently. And but no, thoroughly, yeah, very reassuring. Anyway, then we did a little ceremony where we welcomed in the elements, the north, south, east, and west, and what each element gives. I've not done that before. That was yeah, really interesting. Just looking to the east, we started with the east and moving around gradually to each of the cardinal points. And at each intersection at the east, obviously I could see the sun and trees, and at the south there was a beautiful image of Richmond Park, which I'd been in. I used to live in London, so Richmond Park was a familiar haunt for me. And then the west, there were some images on that side as well. And then finally, the north, where we had some plant material, including what she picked for me. Was she'd done a reading before I'd arrived, and the tree that she picked for me was a yew tree, Taxus baccata. Now, Taxus is a very interesting tree. It's some of the chemicals in Taxus have been used in cancer treatment. So it's one of the evergreen trees that grows naturally in the UK, often planted in churchyards. It has ancient associations, and so we had that. We had ivy leaf. I bought a jasmine, and sort of added that as a sort of offering to the north as well, which I thought was beautiful. And the room was very laid out with candles and lovely lamps. It was very warming and welcoming. And it was a very cold day. We're in the middle of winter here in the UK, and So, and hence this isn't a neck brace or anything. This is just to keep my neck warm. And actually, this was significant because I'd found this a few days earlier in a shop, secondhand store, and it's actually Pachamama is the brand, and Pachamama, of course, is the goddess of the earth, if you like, that you make your offerings to. So I thought, well, that's a sign. I must get that. So I did. And it's so warm. It's lovely. So yeah, we did our offering, and then we she offered me a choice of either I could create a mandala in the room while she went to eat, because she knew she would need to be with me 5 or 6 hours, or I could go for a walk. And she lives in a lovely area where there's a beach nearby, and I opted to go for a walk. I've always felt close to nature, and nature inspires me. So I went for a 25-minute walkish down to the shore, and I took a few pictures, and I kind of just took it all in. And I was nervous at this point. I was thinking, oh, as I'm walking back, I'm starting to think, is this a mistake? Am I going to be okay? And I really, really hope the dose isn't too high and I don't freak out and start hallucinating and all of that, because I've hallucinated on prescription drugs before. A lot of the SSRIs made me hallucinate. And I know that I'm not alone in that. There is a small percentage of people who do, and it depends on your particular neurochemistry. So I was very nervous at this point, but I'm thinking, well, I made the commitment, I paid the money, I'm going to do this thing. And who knows? The uncertainty, of course, is the big factor with any form of plant medicine. It's not pharmacological in the same way. The dose is, you do decide on the dose. In fact, it was doused for me, and it came out at 2.7 grams, which I've no idea. I know that a heroic dose is 25. There was no way I was ever going to do that on a first go. And it's really unnecessary. That's a sort of macho thing where you have to maximize everything, very left brain. So it was doused with a pendulum, which you may or may not think that's valid. I have used dowsing myself, and I'm amazed how accurate it can be. And after all, before we had all the technology, dowsing was used to identify water courses and build, our buildings in appropriate places. So there is a history to dowsing. So let's give it the benefit of the doubt and say there's something about that. And the dose was decided, and then the tea was made. So psilocybin is a mushroom that grows natively in the UK. The dose is ground up, and then it's filtered through water and made into a tea. And it's yeah, sorry, it's a fly. It's very herby tasting, and so they add lemon juice and honey if you want it. So I said yes to honey, and I drank the tea, and I sat there for a while, and then I thought, okay, I had a sudden awareness that the carpet was a little bit moving, sort of, but I've had that before anyway, not on anything, just because my eyes do funny things when a carpet is patterned, or even when I'm going down an escalator, if there are lines, close lines on something, my eyes do something really rather peculiar with that. So I thought, but it doesn't feel too bad, but I'm going to follow instructions and lie down. So I did. I had prepared a full 5-hour music list, track list. Oops. And it was, yeah, it started off very gently. I'd planned it that way. I have a mask over my eyes, and I'm lying. I didn't want to lie right flat, so I propped myself up. I felt more comfortable with that. And yeah, and then I just kind of allowed myself to drift. And at some point, my guide came over, and she knelt beside me, and she said, "How are you doing?" And I said, "I feel okay. I do. I didn't feel that sudden rush that you can get sometimes with chemicals, I just felt very held, very warm. I had a slight tingliness in my feet and hands, which that's for me an absolute sign that something's going through me. I get it also when I'm not very well. So, if I've got like a virus or something, I often get that feeling. But this was very warm and lovely. And then I just sat back and continued to close my eyes and listen to the music. And at one point, I needed to get up to go to the loo. So I did that. And I felt a little bit wobbly, but not too bad. And certainly I was completely aware and I wasn't hallucinating and I wasn't freaking out. And my journey was really like that. Um, I actually was offered more about an hour in, and because I hadn't experienced anything that was remotely unsettling, I said yes, let's try that. So I had another dose, a couple of grams more, I think, um, and again laid back, listened to the music. After about 2.5 hours of that, I did get some messages. I got that I'm there's nothing to fear, that I'm safe, that I'm held. I had visitations sounds a bit freaky, but I had an awareness of people coming into my mind. Um, my grandmother, my great grandmother, interestingly, not my mum. Probably don't know why, but my grandmother and my great grandma were there, and kind of just a memory or a feeling of them. I certainly don't visualize. I don't see things. I'm not clairvoyant or anything. So um, I had the sense that I'm being gently guided in my life and that I am on the right path, which was good. That there's nothing I need to fix or force, that it's all coming my way anyway, and just to let go, relax, it's fine. I had lots of thoughts about the people in my life now, the loved ones, the people I've maybe moved on from, the people that I've loved once and are not in my life anymore. I had lots of feelings about those people, and it was gentle. It was lovely. But by about, I suppose it would be 2:45, something like that, I started to feel like actually I need to move now. My body is asking to get up off the floor and move. And I sat up and I said, how I'm feeling is I'd like to go out into nature again and experience that in this enhanced state of total connection, because that's what it feels like. And so we actually went back to the beach that I had been to earlier. And my guide she was very clear. She said, don't feel you have to make conversation. We can just go inside, use your own experience. I'm with you, but we don't have to talk if you don't want to. And she took me into the woodland where she had made an offering the day before, her favorite tree, which was an oak tree, which had a really interesting outgrowth, it looked like it had a baby tree growing out of it. Very extraordinary. And that was beautiful. And we were so blessed with sunlight. The day had been forecast to be grey and cold and bitter, and that's what I'd expected. But the sun came out. It was absolutely gorgeous. We're down on the water where the tide had gone out. There are lots of reed beds, and so there's a massive amount of wetland bird life there. It's incredible. I'm not going to say where it was because it's important not to identify um, people or places, but it was just a gorgeous, gorgeous experience, and being able to turn 360 degrees and barely see a human being and just see wildlife and these mud flats and the reeds and the birds. And we saw several formations of geese flying in. We saw an egret taking off. Egrets are quite rare, big, very big birds. And, I just spent an hour and a half there, taking that in, noticing the lichen, or I picked up a little thing off the beach actually, which is so beautiful. Lichen is so amazing. And it's growing on bark. And that felt like an offering, from the earth. And so I picked up a few things. I brought a few things with me to kind of ground me, things that I love, natural things, some rocks, a, a, a twig that has some little seeds along it, an acorn, and some crystals. But that was one that I think the earth offered me yesterday. And and then we made our way back, by which time I'm starting to get a little hungry because obviously I've been fasting since breakfast. You're not allowed to have you're not allowed to eat when you're taking the medicine because the two things can be contradictory, if you like. The I had been told that I could feel slightly nauseous, and that's why they had the lemon, apart from the fact it apparently makes it more effective. But I'd had no nausea. I was getting hungry, so very intuitively, my guide asked me, are you ready to break the fast yet? Would you like to eat? And I said, oh, yes, I really would. And so we had some fruit and nuts, very natural foods, which was lovely. And we discussed a little about what I experienced. She's made me a really beautiful sort of essence this was natural well water with some yew extract, I think, and a few other things. It's sort of meant to help integrate internally what I've experienced. These plant medicine journeys are not like pharmaceutical medicine. They are unique experiences, and you're integrating mind, body, spirit. So who's to say? We know that we now know scientifically water holds memory. Okay, so there's no question of that. All right. It's also a very interesting material in the body because it also holds charge separation. So it acts like a battery, if you like. So assuming that the fact that this is it's a tincture, it's presumably got some of the memory of my day, if you like, and certainly some of the chemicals from the yew and a few other things that were used during the day to kind of bless the experience. And so I'm to take that twice a day now, and to help me integrate. So around about I guess 5:30, something like that. And bear in mind it's dark by now because we're in the winter time here and it gets dark early. I'm invited to go and eat a wholesome soup made with loving intent and whole natural ingredients. And we sit down and we discuss how I'm feeling and what's happened and what's come up for us. And we have a lot to share because we're both therapists. And it's a really nice conversation. It's a really loving conversation, and one where I really feel held, and it's extraordinary. About an hour later, it's time for me to leave, and I'm taken to the station. Unfortunately, this is where things start to go wrong a little. The train is delayed on my way home. I've been told I shouldn't drive, so I went by train. The train is delayed. I wait on a freezing cold station. There are some teenage girls there who are obviously really hyper. I don't know what they're on, but it's very, very jarring to what I've just had. And so I have to move all the way down to the other end of the platform to avoid their screeching, and they're fighting and sort of play fighting all the time. And there's one girl in particular who is very dysregulated, and you can just so pick up on her energy. And it's like, oh, this is horrible. So anyway, the train turns up. It's 20 minutes late. It gets halfway back to my home, and then they cancel the train because they want to send it back because it's already delayed. And so I have to wait for the next train that I would have got if I'd been half an hour later. Okay, it's not a disaster, but I'm cold. I am kind of wanting to get home by this stage. I was hoping to write in my journal, but I've not had enough time to do that because of the delays on the way home. And there we are. But I get home, it's fine. I've slept really well. I've woken early, but that's not because of the medicine. That's just something my cat wanted feeding early. So, and I thought I better record this and let you know that I don't know what it would be like for you if you've done it, if you're thinking of doing it. I would say it might not be as easy a journey as I had. And I do know, because my guide told me, that subsequent journeys can be very, very different. So you get what you need, not what you expect. You get whatever the plant medicine deems is for your highest good. And so these are very variable experiences, even with the same dose. And for me, I feel it was absolutely worth doing. It's certainly something I'm very interested in. Um, there hasn't been a major catharsis or release particularly, but then I had done a lot of that before I went because things had been happening from the moment I made the commitment to do the plant medicine. Things have been happening, which I've already recorded in part one. But I also have had these sort of visions which happen when I'm just coming round from sleep. If I've had a bit of a nap and I'm waking up, I see things. And what I've been seeing this week, I've been writing in my journal. So lots of two cats came. One was white, one was black and white. I'm not sure whose cats they are. I did have a black and white cat once, but it was with a black cat, not a white cat. I had brothers. So I don't think it was them. I don't know who, but they obviously came because they were just sitting looking at me like, here we are, And then there were a pair of eyeglasses, but they'd been laid on a desk, and in front of those was a piece of paper, just a piece of paper. I don't know what that is. I also got a very interesting image of I don't know, a utensil or something, whether it was a scribe pen or a knife or something, but it was in gold and silver, and it was like entwined gold and silver with markings on. I struggled to draw it afterwards, but it was so vivid at the time. And the other element that came in, which was so extraordinary, was a staff, as in a rod with a knob on the top that you kind of plant in a quest. And I had said to my guide, I've had the image of a staff come in and that I'm planting my staff in the ground. And then 3 days later, up pops in my YouTube a a movie by, I think her name is Melissa Tittle, somebody like that. It's called Code 12. She's an investigative journalist. She's very interested in ancient sites and the meaning of numbers, which I'm also very interested in. And she was describing how, since she was a little girl, she had a recurring dream of walking in the desert with a staff and placing it in the ground. And then all these concentric circles of energy would emanate from that point. And I was like, how freaky is this? This has come into my YouTube feed. I wasn't searching for anything like that. So maybe it's a sense of having planted my staff. It's saying, I'm here. It's time to show up. It's time to believe in me and who I am and what I'm offering here. And, a sense of open-hearted awareness and a curiosity to find out more. And curiosity is the antidote to anxiety. Okay, as Martha Beck has been describing. Martha, the author of The Way of Integrity, has got a new book out, very prolific, called Beyond Anxiety. I plug other people's books. I should be plugging my own, but never mind. And she's saying that the left brain anxiety is balanced by the right brain curiosity, and they're both fear systems. But the curiosity says, oh, I feel nervous. I wonder what that is. I wonder what I need to do, or I wonder how I could, interpret the meaning. Whereas the left brain says, I'm scared. I need to fix it, or I need to run. And that is a loop that is very difficult to break. And so getting into curiosity is something that I've often talked about and intuited for people when I'm working with them. So that also popped in last night, unbidden, into my YouTube feed. So either the algorithm is picking up on me, or it's just one of those universal serendipity things. I don't know. So folks, overall, thumbs up. Very gentle, very profound, very healing, on so many levels. The the herb itself, the mushroom itself, um, left me feeling very cleansed actually internally. My gut felt, yeah, a little bit empty. um, but I didn't have any after effects. I didn't feel sick. I didn't suffer any internal problems. And here I am the next day, still in one piece, thankfully. I did it, folks. I did it. I'm so proud of myself and glad that it wasn't awful. So I've got two more sessions with my guide, sort of integration sessions. One is a week after, and one is about a month after. So, you know, and they are an hour and a quarter each. So they're the opportunity to do some tapping, to do some analysis, I guess, and sense in my body what it is I've learned from that experience. So it isn't over yet. So I will be doing another one or maybe two recordings of my experience. But hey, there we are. Psychonaut me, having done it. And I know a lot of you watching are perhaps considering it for yourself. And I would say, why not? Why not? If you can find the right person, and it really is about finding the right person or the right environment, it's very, very important. I would not advise you doing it on your own, or with people who are dysregulated or just doing it recreationally. It's a ceremony, it's an intention, it's done with deep respect and open-hearted awareness. So that's a huge leap forward in terms of an approach to healing compared to modern medicine's approach, which is so clinical and so aimed at fixing the problem. We have to understand that we are far more than our physical bodies. And so we have to approach all aspects of ourselves, including our psyche. Anyway, that's enough for today, I think. And thank you for watching, and take care of yourselves and watch out for the next one. Take care. Bye.